저도 가니까 시원을 주시네. And this is out on the temperature, so yeah, the temperature so British you beginning dress like 7, 8 dayo gusto sa kalatyo. Chiya nalazeo beginning dress so. He go de straight Istużowaną jeru, żurnalistyczny, i Dene Yati najetado Oregon na pas insenteresesni. Oregon asi sa dunecho, Chalani, Almost
Good afternoon. Salot in Adlanot. Hello, Duni. Dogouts in Hello. Once again, Dene Yati podcast or Alamasi Chosi Willis Janve Hushin in Telas Tuazi. Clearwater River Dene Nation band member at the Cleondala, and I come to you live. They see Treaty 4 territory, home of the Cree, Sioux, Assiniboine, Soto, and the Métis. We can't forget the Métis because we got a representative from the Métis Nation doing no halunta that yase no halhulnia do this month. Couple weeks from now, election day, the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan election. Torlunt Bezinedin Yasikudi, one of them is the candidate, Leonard Montgrand. Healthy. Hello to Nina. Questions in what's in it. Métis Utsine. Questions no what's in it. Throw them out there. I'm sure Leonard would be happy to answer them. And we'll get this going today. Masi Cho for joining us. And here he is, the man himself. Hello, Leonard. How you doing?
Not too bad, Willis. Yourself?
Oh, Nezu, I'm good. I'm alive, And thanks for coming on Dene Yati podcast here and share with us what's going on in the Métis Nation. I'll get you to introduce yourself for all the listeners out there.
Okay. Well, my name is Leonard Montgrand. I'm Northern Region. Oops, did I lose everybody?
No, you. I don't know what you did there, but
I don't know. I keep getting calls and it cuts off. And it's supposed to be on that. How do I get back? There it is. Sorry, guys.
There you are.
So right now, the writ has been dropped for the election for the Métis Nation, Saskatchewan. May 29th is the election date. That's when you can come in and vote. So for our region, I myself am running along with Nap Shorty from Buffalo Narrows. So I encourage people on May 29th to come out and vote. The polling stations will be at the community hall. So you can come out there and vote. I'm running for Northern Region 2 representative. I was in the same position the last 4 years.
Yeah. Cool. What area does that Northern Region 2 cover?
So Northern Region 2 covers Michelle Village, St. George's Hill, Buffalo Narrows, Turner Lake, Bear Creek, Black Point, and La Loche.
Okay, so it's a pretty small area. I thought maybe you're going into maybe Isle La Crosse or is that another region in itself?
That's another region. That's Northern Region 3. So that region, that's Tex Bouvier, who right now or was the area director. He's up for election now. I think there's 5 people running against him.
Cool. And when is the advanced polls? I think I saw something there on Facebook about advanced polls for the election.
Yeah, I'm not sure the date for the election for the advanced polls in La Loche. I can get that information to you and you can post it on the website. It should be up on the website.
Yeah. So April 29th, the big day. And Nap Shortche is the other guy running against you, eh? So
May 29th.
Cool, man. Cool.
You
That's
said April. You said April 29th.
and you're looking to get in again for your second term of regional director.
Yeah, this will be my second term. Will be my last term. I'll do one more term for 4 years. I just want to try to make a change in the communities within our region.
Yeah.
Especially, we've got a lot right now on the burner, and considering with NextGen and the local 39 here in La Loche and the region as a whole. So there's a lot of great opportunities. And that people have seen so far to date, coming up to get registered, we've seen a huge increase in the number of people wanting to get registered with their Métis cards. We have people coming to the Friendship Center every day, so it's great. It's good stuff. It's good news.
So you need to be registered in order to vote, right?
Yeah, correct. You have to bring to the polling station your Métis card, card with valid ID, driver's license preferable, and Saskatchewan health card. I know that this election this time around, I was kind of concerned that they're asking for quite a bit of information just to be elected into the Métis, to be eligible to participate in the election for the Métis Nation for our region. I think that's too much information to give at a polling station to be able to vote. And I think that's something that'll be addressed at the next, if I'm successful, will be addressed at the next PMC meeting in the Métis National Assembly, Legislative Assembly. Because I just think that people should be able to participate in the vote, but I think it's very important to have your card, that people should at all times have a Métis card and be able to participate in the programs that we have, such as the health program and the food vouchers and the elders' fuel subsidies and stuff like that. In order to be eligible, everybody, like in the First Nations, have to have their treaty card. And the same should apply for us here as Métis people, that we should also have our cards.
Yeah, just get a card and here it is. Because Métis, you are, your own race pretty much, right? Like the First Nations, that's what kind of divides everybody, right?
Yeah, well, in the Daniels case that came out, Métis were recognized as Indigenous people. And we've been Indigenous people for many, many years before this, but the federal government has come forward and said, yes, Métis people have the same rights as First Nations. It's a matter of catching up to First Nations, which is going to be a monumental task, because I don't think it's going to happen within 5 years. It's going to take like 20 years before us as Métis people see the same benefits and rights as First Nations. And that's good. I mean, they set the template, our First Nations brothers and sisters, and it's something that we try to achieve and work towards a common goal, making our communities better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
related.
There's a lot of things happening within the First Nations, especially the cows and the plows that are coming out now on June 1st. It's exciting times for a lot of people out there on the reserve and First Nations people that, it's not often they come into a sum of money that they're able to use for their personal betterment of themselves and their family. And I want to see the same thing for us as Métis people, to be able to, share in that celebration and have something come back to the community and back to their people.
Yeah. Cool. Good stuff, man. I know you mentioned some opportunities that you want to work on within the next term if you get in there. What are some of those opportunities you talk about? You mentioned a couple different companies and maybe some of the services or resources that within your region share with us, the listeners here today.
Well, I think the biggest thing right now on our plate is NextGen. NextGen, if people are not aware of, it's located at Patterson Lake, and they're one of the biggest exploration companies. So they've moved from the exploration phase. They're now into the mining phase. So before they can do that, they have to be able to get permission from Canada Nuclear Safety Commission and the federal and provincial government. And also they have to seek permission from the First Nations and the Métis people in terms of starting the process at the mining the area around Patterson Lake. And before they can do any of that, they have to engage with us. But that being said, it's a long road to ensure that we get something as Métis people. We're asking for a substantial amount of money through our impact benefit agreement. I'd like to be able to see at least, a sum of money that can create a strong social climate change in our communities, and also that we can develop a legacy fund. I'd like to see that for our communities. And people say, what do you mean by a legacy fund? Well, a legacy fund is where we would put our money to help our seniors travel south, because it really bothers me when I see our seniors having to travel south. They're not allowed to get taxi service, meals, rooms, and we've started to change that slowly, but it's an expensive uh, uh, proposition for people. But right now, I think the way it's going is that we're looking at, allowing taxi service for our seniors, because how can you be a senior citizen and have to choose between spending your money on your rent and your food or going south for a medical appointment? It's pretty tough on a lot of people. We also want to create a legacy fund where we can help our youth, our Métis youth, travel to save the North American Indigenous Games, because right now we have to piggyback from First Nations, and I don't think that should be happening. I think we should be able to have our own ability to have our funding available to take our own kids to North American Indigenous Games and so forth. So those are some of the focuses in a legacy fund. But I can tell people this: if the IBA comes through and we get what we want or close to what we want, will definitely be a strong social change. There'll be opportunities for employment, training and employment also, and entrepreneurs, economic development. The list goes on.
The list goes on. Yes, that's a lot of good stuff. I mean, with all the good opportunities that come with it, I mean, you're gonna have the jobs and money coming and supporting families. And what is the Métis Nation doing in regards for mental health? And are there any resources where people can reach out? And if you need to talk to somebody, what is something the Métis Nation is doing for mental health?
So mental health, because of COVID, has created a strong social problem within our communities within the north, within not only La Loche, but all our communities. Mental health is very important. It's affected everybody. It's affected me. I know people out there that, living under the fear of COVID and not knowing the outcome, and families that do have COVID and having to wait 14-day periods, and the people that we've just lost, 2 people in Buffalo Narrows to COVID. They've had a huge outbreak in their community. And, and I've also lost Leonard Montgrand, my cousin, passed away from.
You must have a phone call earlier.
Yeah, I know. That's what happens. I don't know how to shut that off. So, well, this is my first time on a podcast here, so you
Yeah.
have to bear with me. But it's tough to deal with the mental health part of it. Some people refuse to get their vaccination because they're afraid of it, or some people don't believe in the vaccination, or some people don't believe in COVID at all. And that's their opinion. But overall, we have to try to work together to a common good, right? We have to try to get rid of the COVID in our communities, wear a mask, work hard. And I encourage people within our region to do that, to wear
Yeah.
your mask, to use hand sanitizer when you can, keep your social distance, and above all, try to be responsible, try to be diligent when you're out in the community, making sure that you're not going to contract COVID and pass it on to your family and your friends or your parents or so forth, and cause more problems as we go along. So that's our main message out there. Try to keep everything going forward. We have 2 emergency operations centers, one located in La Loche, run out of the Friendship Center, and the other EOC is located in Buffalo Narrows. So right now, Buffalo Narrows, headed by Marlene Hansen, they're working hard to eradicate. They had quite a few cases of COVID in Buffalo Narrows. The same with Turner Lake, also has quite a few cases of COVID for their small population base. So those are things we're looking at. We're trying to make positive change in terms of battling COVID. I want all these restrictions lifted. I'm tired of wearing a mask. I'm tired of worrying about, COVID. Every second sentence we say it has to do with COVID. I
Yeah.
just want to go back to the way it was, resume our normal lives, be able to exercise and play hockey and go to bingos and so forth, because we've changed our lifestyle for COVID dramatically, and that's caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. So we are reaching out to people. I do want to create our own Dene and Cree mental health lines that people can phone in and talk to our elders or talk to professionals and be able to get help. Because right now, to see a mental health caregiver, even just the basic level, it's going to take you 3 to 4 months just to see someone. So the appointments are booked that high, and then now people are just turning to medicine or self abuse in terms of trying to deal with with the mental health issue.
Addiction and all of that stuff. And those are some good points you made there. I want to say, you know, with the opportunities that might come with Next Gen, do you look to bring more educational, you know, programs in the community, or to send more people away from the community to get educated and come home and be those Dene counselors or those Dene teachers? I mean, I know there was a Dene teacher program, but you know, in other professional jobs, are you looking to, you know, work towards in the next 4 years if you get elected?
Well, you know, Willis, it's an interesting thing you brought up, and I see this a lot in our community in Laloche. A lot of the people, they heal themselves physically, they go to detox and they're better again physically, but we haven't dealt with the spiritual or the mental side of addiction. I'd really like to be able to see if Next Gen, if we're successful in getting what we want in the IBA, I'd like to develop a remote addiction center located somewhere, you know, that's away from the community, because it's pretty hard when you deal with your addictions and you come from the hospital. I can only imagine you come from the hospital, you walk downtown, and what do we see? More
Yeah,
people addicted, more alcohol, and the chance of reverting back to that lifestyle is very high. But
yeah,
if we were to take that person and put them in an isolated setting with nature and one, and have healers there, elders, spiritual leaders, and so forth, to deal with the root cause of addiction. Like we all live with addiction. I live with addiction. I know everybody does in one way or another. Nobody's perfect. And
yeah,
that's the thing that we have to share in our communities, which have to help each other. That's the main message. But I would love to see a spiritual retreat center in our region for people to go to, instead of having to go to, you know, in community treatment centers. You can connect back to the land this way, right? It's more of a
yeah,
spiritual connection and that. So that's
yeah.
something that we need, definitely.
To build that foundation before, you know, you get to go walk downtown and put yourself in those places, because those things don't change. You know, it's gotta, you gotta be able to have that foundation to deal with that stuff. You know, people, places, and things. You know, those are some good points. But you know, I mean, a lot of it, we need to encourage to have more social workers, more counselors, and you know, more people to get educated in those jobs, so we can be, you know, self-sustaining. I guess that would be one of the words to use there, and be able to have all everything within a community. And
Yeah.
you know, I want to go back to the COVID thing here, and you know, what is some of the things that the Métis Nation has done within the last year? You know, and you know, there's so many things that you can go talk to, from having the lockdown, and you know, the government pretty much telling you guys to stay put and putting those restriction against you guys. What have you guys done to deal with all that?
Well, we've implemented quite a few procedures prior to the last mayor council and chief and myself, and through the EOC committee and that, through the hospitals and the RCMP and that, we came together. We worked in a strong partnership, and we shared our information with everyone, even including the businesses, the local businesses in town. And we wanted to make sure. I mean, we had 300 some cases of COVID in our community and the reserve, and that was the most cases of COVID in any Indigenous community in Canada ever.
Yeah,
So that gives people the, you know, the wake up sign, and I want to commend people out there because I see people still practicing safe, but I do also see at the same time people are letting down their guard, and the
hmm,
variants are out there, so we have to be very careful, extremely careful. We have to, you know, I hate to say it, and I hate to keep saying the message over and over to people, but it's our decision how we want to live our lives. But when it starts to affect other people, you have to take step back and take a look at the picture as a whole.
yeah,
So I mean, we did a lot last year in the Métis Nation. I know we spent a lot of money, and in terms of food vouchers and fuel rebates for our elders, and setting up and hiring security all over through the community and so forth. It's quite an expensive cost, and you know, in our region, a lot of the dollars flow through our region down to the local level. So, you know, there's a lot of things we had to put in place during COVID. For example, we had to develop an accounting system where we're able to ensure all our dollars were properly spent. We had to develop and get auditors. And I mean, that's our first for our region, to get audited financial statements. That should have been a normal thing. but
Mm-hmm.
something that we had to implement. Same with our policy and procedure manuals. We made it, and people say, well, what is that to us, a policy and procedure manual? Well, when you go to have an election and you can't just shoot from the side of your hip and say, oh, this is the way it is and this is the way it is. And you say, no. We have a policy and procedure manual now that we follow so that there's no more of this people getting frustrated or angry at the system because there's nothing in place to ensure accountability or transparency. We're able to move forward. We've put these things in place to stop that. So people will hopefully say to their elected representatives or their local presidents and that you guys are doing a good job. We know that you guys developed all these safeguards to ensure that things are run properly. And that's something that we're trying to do on a day-to-day basis. There's a lot of programs we bought out. The people we have on waiting lists for emergency repair programs, for them also, we've set out programs to ensure that they get sewer and water if we can. If their buildings are suitable to put sewer and water, we'll do that for our community members in La Loche. We also look at developing other areas of such as the tiny homes. We've looked at 6 tiny homes for the Métis here in La Loche.
Mm-hmm.
We're also looking at putting up a hotel in La Loche. We're working on that right now because the fact is we desperately need infrastructure in La Loche. Same with the other communities, but some communities are way ahead. But La Loche, a population base of 5,000 people, we don't have a hotel. That's strange. And people say, to me, that's strange. We don't have a bank. That's another thing, another issue that, we've got to tackle as we go down the line. But it's these small little incremental steps that we're taking. Things will get better in our communities. Change will happen, and good change for the betterment of everybody. And it's not only that, we're looking at setting up our isolation trailers in La Loche and also developing a homeless shelter. We've got the trailers. We're just working on the funding arrangements for that. So everything boils down to the almighty dollar at the end of the day, to make our community better. But it's not only La Loche. We're doing the same for other smaller locals, but there's only so much to go around. But in terms of COVID, we've created a lot of positive change in our community. We brought our communities in our region together.
Cool, Nezu, good stuff. Good, Salatinagani, Leonard Montgrand, bro, upcoming election on Ohalia. It's a lot of some good transparency, accountability. It sounds like you've developed a good voice for the elders and the people of your community. Leonard, I want to say must-see show for coming on Dene Yati podcast today. And if there's anything you would like to add, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Willis. I appreciate giving me time on your podcast. This is the first time I've ever been on a podcast. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of it due to COVID because we can't come out and debate in the general public in the forum as we were used to. So a lot of it's virtual now. Mm-hmm. So I encourage people on May 29th to come out and vote. Yeah. Exercise your right, bring your Métis card, show that you care and you have concern for your community, for your Métis people. And above all, make sure that you vote. That's the main message I want people to get out there. We've registered a lot of people now. We've increased our membership to 15,000 province-wide. And I know each of our regions, in our region, we've increased our membership probably about 300 people easy. Yep. So I encourage people come out and vote. And on May 29th, vote for the best person, which of course is myself, as everybody knows. No, I'm just kidding. But come out that date and vote, and look forward to hearing any questions or anything anybody wants to know in regards to Métis movement and forward in our region, our community. Don't hesitate to contact me. My door is always open. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, where can people reach you?
306-822-7643 is my cell.
Yeah. It's always on. Your email, if they want to email you?
Yeah, leonardmontgrand@yahoo.ca.
Cool. Masi Cho, Leonard, for coming on today. I will talk to you later. Have a good day.
Merci. Bye-bye.
Hey, salot inakudi Leonard Montgrand gani no halya iltilad the upcoming election da COVID gaya iltiudu klein nena hudderla 1 year there's some COVID and a lot of mental health issues then it gets tiring, it's draining. constantly, you're sitting there if you're having to isolate date the, unique hell and don't be shy then and just ask for help. Don't be scared to ask for help. We're all dealing with it. So with that, Salot in a on May 29th, vote in the Métis election. The voting will be at the community hall. That's what Mr. Leonard Montgrand told us. Community hall in La Loche, and then I'm sure any other within that region, you'll have. I'm sure it's going to be at the community hall everywhere. And so yeah, if you're Métis, go get your Métis card. If you're not registered, it's pretty cool. I just got my my First Nation status card, so feels good to be a part of it. Ayate masi cho na harusiu salotina. Okay, doing zinig as Harutai. Hello from Bechoko, not far from Yellowknife. Hello. Welcome. We are just gonna sign off here, this afternoon. Don't forget, tomorrow I've got another guest. We're gonna be talking about missing and murdered Indigenous women. I've got Myrna Laprice. She's from La Loche, and she's been working towards finding her aunt who's been missing, for 40 plus years, I believe. But tune in tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'll be chatting with Myrna Laprice from La Loche, Saskatchewan. Ayati Selot in a Masi Cho Dene Yati Harutaidu and see Willis Janvier Hushin in Telas Tuazi. Clearwater River Dene Nation band member at the Esleonai come to you live. The Treaty 4 territory, home of the Cree, Métis, Sioux, Assiniboine, all beautiful Indigenous people. Masi Cho, have a good day.